Season 5, AI and Decision Making. Episode 5, How AI Quietly Rewrites Social Rules. 1. Introduction, the rules you follow without noticing. Most people think social rules are written down somewhere. Laws, policies, school rules, workplace guidelines. But many of the most powerful rules are not written. They are felt. They are the invisible expectations that shape what is normal, what is risky, what is acceptable, and what is rewarded. How you speak in public. How you behave at work. How you present yourself online. What you can say without consequences. What you can do without being flagged. What counts as credibility. What counts as success. These rules used to be shaped mainly by culture, institutions, and human judgment. Now AI is quietly rewriting them. Not through speeches or declarations, but through ranking systems, scoring systems, moderation systems, and predictive systems. When a machine decides what gets visibility, what gets punished, and what gets access, it changes behavior. And when behavior changes at scale, social rules change. This episode explains how AI rewrites social rules, why it happens quietly, and why it matters even if you never think about algorithms at all. 2. What it means to rewrite social rules. AI does not pass laws. It does not vote. It does not hold moral beliefs. So what does it mean to say AI rewrites social rules? It means AI changes incentives and consequences. Social rules are often enforced by feedback, approval, disapproval, opportunity, exclusion, reward, punishment. When AI systems control feedback at scale, they shape what people learn to do. If the system rewards certain behavior, more people do it. If the system punishes certain behavior, more people avoid it. Over time, the rewarded behavior feels normal. The punished behavior feels dangerous. That is how social rules are rewritten. Not by ideology, but by reinforcement. 3. Why this happens quietly. Social rule changes are usually loud. A new law is debated. A cultural movement creates conflict. An institution announces policy. AI changes rules differently. The system updates silently. A ranking formula changes. A moderation threshold shifts. A platform adjusts what it considers quality. A workplace changes performance scoring. An insurer changes risk modeling. A school changes analytics rules. Nothing looks like a rule change. But behavior changes anyway. Because people respond to outcomes. They adapt. And once adaptation becomes widespread, the new behavior becomes the new norm. This is why AI rule changes often feel like reality itself changed. But it was the environment that changed. 4. The first rule AI rewrites, what counts as visible. In human society, visibility used to come from social position. Money. Status, connections, institutions. Now visibility is increasingly algorithmic. What trends? What appears first? What gets recommended? What gets boosted? What gets buried? When AI controls visibility, it changes a basic social rule. If you want to matter, you must be visible. And if you want to be visible, you must satisfy the system. This affects creators, businesses, activists, politicians, and ordinary users. Visibility becomes conditional on algorithmic approval. That is a new kind of gatekeeping. Not an editor, not a teacher, not a community leader. A system optimized for engagement, compliance, and platform goals. 5. The second rule, what counts as normal speech. Online platforms and workplaces increasingly filter language. They detect harassment. They detect hate. They detect misinformation signals. They detect unsafe content. Some of this is necessary for protection, but it also changes how people speak. People learn which words trigger flags, which phrases reduce reach, which topics cause demonetization or down ranking, which jokes cause account restrictions. Over time, speech becomes shaped not only by social norms, but by model behavior. This creates a new rule: speak in ways machines can interpret safely. That rule is different from speaking in ways humans can interpret fairly. Machines struggle with context. They struggle with irony. They struggle with cultural nuance. So users adapt by simplifying, avoiding complexity, avoiding ambiguity, avoiding topics that cause friction. Speech becomes optimized for machine evaluation. That is a real cultural shift. 6. The third rule: what counts as credible? Credibility used to be tied to institutions, journalism, academia, professional expertise. AI changes credibility in two ways. First, it changes discovery. If credible sources are not ranked high, many people never see them. Second, it changes the performance incentives of information. Content that feels confident performs well. Content that is nuanced performs less well. Content that is emotionally activating performs well. Content that is careful performs less well. Over time, credibility becomes linked to performance signals. Not truth. Not expertise. Performance. People learn that being certain is rewarded. Being cautious is ignored. So the social rule becomes: confidence is credibility. This is one of the most dangerous rule changes because it reshapes public reasoning. 7. The fourth rule: what counts as success? AI systems redefine success by quantifying it. Views, likes, watch time, follower growth, conversion rates, engagement. In workplaces, success becomes output metrics, response speed, tickets closed, customer ratings, productivity scores. In education, success becomes analytics dashboards, attendance patterns, assessment scores, completion rates. The problem is not measurement itself. The problem is that measurement becomes the definition. If the system measures only what is easy to count, people optimize for what is easy to count. Then the counted becomes the valued. Then the valued becomes the social rule. A world measured by algorithms becomes a world where what matters is what the algorithm can measure. This rewrites success. And when success is rewritten, people rewrite their lives to pursue it. 8. The fifth rule: how fast you must respond. AI accelerates communication. Automated replies, suggested responses, instant drafting, auto summaries. This changes social expectations. If people can respond faster, they are expected to respond faster. The baseline shifts. Silence becomes suspicious. Delay becomes disrespect. People feel pressure to be constantly available. Work expands into personal time. Friendships become more demanding. The rule becomes, always be reachable. This rule existed before, but AI strengthens it by reducing friction and making constant responsiveness feasible. Feasible becomes expected. Expected becomes mandatory. That is how AI changes time as a social rule. 9. The sixth rule: What counts as appropriate behavior in public spaces? AI expands surveillance. Cameras with pattern detection. Face matching. Behavior anomaly detection. Retail analytics. Public safety monitoring. Even when AI is imperfect, it changes behavior because people assume they may be watched. And when people assume they may be watched, they self-police. They avoid actions that could be misinterpreted. They avoid gatherings. They avoid controversial expression. They avoid standing out. A quiet rule emerges: do not appear suspicious. But suspicious is not defined by the person. It is defined by the system and the institution using it. So the rule is not only moral. It is strategic. Act normal enough to pass. That is not freedom. That is adaptation to surveillance. 10. The seventh rule: how you must present yourself. AI systems evaluate presentation constantly. Hiring systems scan resumes. Platforms scan profiles. Apps infer identity traits. Customer service systems score tone. Call analytics score sentiment. Workers learn to perform in ways the system prefers. Candidates write resumes with keywords. Creators structure content to satisfy recommendation patterns. Employees write messages in safe corporate language. Presentation becomes an optimization problem. The social rule becomes: be legible to the machine. Legibility matters because the machine is the gatekeeper. If you are not legible, you are not ranked. Not approved. Not hired. Not promoted. So identity becomes strategic. People shape themselves to pass evaluation. This is a deep change in social life. 11. The eighth rule: what counts as risky. AI spreads risk scoring. Credit risk. Insurance risk. Fraud risk. Workplace risk. Travel risk. Tenant risk. Risk scoring changes how institutions treat people. It can create two worlds. Low-risk people get smooth experiences. High-risk people get friction. Extra verification. Higher prices. More delays. More denial. This creates a new social rule: some people must prove themselves more than others. In the past, this existed through prejudice and bureaucracy. AI makes it systematic and scalable. The experience of friction becomes a social identity. People learn where they stand based on the barriers they face. That rewrites social trust. 12. The ninth rule: what counts as safe information. AI content systems decide what is allowed. Not only through removal, but through ranking. Downranking. Demonetization. Shadow limiting. Warning labels. These systems shape public knowledge. But they also shape what people feel comfortable discussing. If a topic triggers restrictions, people avoid it. Even if the topic is legitimate. Even if the conversation is educational. This creates a new rule: speak only within the safe zone the system recognizes. The safe zone is not always the same as the true zone. It is often the zone that reduces platform risk, legal risk, brand risk, political risk. So the system rewrites the boundaries of discussable reality. Quietly. At scale. 13. The 10th rule: how humans learn to trust. Trust used to be built through relationships. Local communities. Institutions. Long-term reputation. AI changes trust by inserting itself into judgment. People trust star ratings. They trust recommendation systems. They trust search rankings. They trust verification badges. They trust people also bought. They trust recommended for you. The system becomes an authority that feels neutral. But it is not neutral. It is optimized. Trust becomes outsourced to ranking. This rewrites the social rule of credibility. Instead of asking who you know or what you believe, people ask what the platform shows. Platform output becomes social proof. That is a new form of authority. 14. The 11th rule: how conflict is amplified or suppressed. AI systems learn what drives engagement. Often conflict drives engagement. Outrage, mockery, polarization, call-out dynamics. So platforms may amplify content that triggers conflict. Not because they want social breakdown, but because conflict keeps attention. At the same time, moderation systems may suppress some conflicts and allow others. So public conflict becomes shaped. Not only by people, but by ranking incentives. This rewrites a social rule: the loudest conflict becomes the most visible conflict. And what is visible feels like what matters. This affects politics, culture, community. It changes what people think society is like. Because the most amplified conflict becomes the face of society. 15. The 12th rule: how communities form. Communities used to form through geography and institutions. Neighborhoods, schools, workplaces, religious groups. Now communities form through recommendation. People are matched by predicted interest. Groups are suggested. Content feeds introduce people to subcultures. This can be positive. It can connect isolated people. But it also changes the nature of belonging. Belonging becomes algorithmic. A person is pulled into communities through exposure, not deliberate choice. Once inside, community norms shape them. The system nudges identity. Identity nudges behavior. Behavior generates data. Data reinforces the algorithm. Community formation becomes a loop. This rewrites social belonging. The 13th rule: what counts as private. Privacy used to be a clear boundary. Private life and public life. AI blurs it. Data collection happens constantly. Location, browsing, purchases, communication patterns. Devices collect signals. Platforms aggregate them. AI extracts inferences. Even if you do not share a private fact, systems can infer it. So privacy changes from secrecy to exposure management. People learn new rules. Assume you attract. Assume data is stored. Assume it can be used later. This changes behavior even when nothing bad happens. A society that assumes tracking becomes more cautious. Less experimental. Less free. Privacy is not only an individual right. It is a social condition for creativity and dissent. When AI makes privacy fragile, it rewrites social life. 17. The 14th rule: how people are disciplined. Discipline used to be explicit. A warning. A manager conversation. A school meeting. Now discipline can be invisible. Reduced reach. Lower ranking. Account limitations. Lower productivity scores. Less favorable scheduling. Higher pricing. More verification steps. AI systems can apply discipline without confrontation. The person simply experiences friction or invisibility. This creates a new social rule: punishment does not need explanation. And when punishment does not need explanation, people cannot negotiate. They can only adapt. This is how control becomes quiet. 18. The 15th rule: how humans think about themselves. When AI systems evaluate people, people internalize the evaluation. Creators track analytics constantly. Workers track dashboards. Students track performance data. Individuals track follower counts and engagement. The self becomes measurable. A person becomes a brand. A performance profile. A score. This changes identity formation. People begin to see themselves through external metrics. That rewrites the social rule of self-worth. Not only in public life, but in private psychology. A society that measures people constantly teaches people to measure themselves constantly. That can increase anxiety. It can increase conformity. It can reduce experimentation. Metrics become identity. 19. The 16th rule: how people learn to play safe. When outcomes depend on algorithmic judgment, people learn to minimize risk. Avoid controversial topics. Avoid unusual behavior. Avoid ambiguity. Avoid non-standard life paths. Even in job seeking, people avoid gaps. They avoid unconventional careers. They avoid honest complexity. They choose legible trajectories. A new social rule forms: be predictable. Predictability is rewarded by systems because it reduces uncertainty. But unpredictability is often the source of creativity. Social change. Innovation. When the environment rewards predictability, society becomes less dynamic. That is a cultural cost. 20. The 17th rule: how reality feels. Perhaps the deepest rule change is this: AI systems change what reality feels like. Because they curate your environment, your feed, your recommendations, your search results, your suggested friends, your suggested communities, your alerts, your trending topics. If the system repeats a narrative, it feels true. If the system hides something, it feels irrelevant. If the system amplifies conflict, it feels like chaos. If the system amplifies certainty, it feels like clarity. Reality becomes mediated. This does not mean the system controls your mind. It means the system shapes your environment. And the environment shapes the mind. That is how social reality is rewritten. 21. Why this is not only about social media. It is tempting to think these rule changes are only about platforms. But the same logic appears in many domains. Workplaces with productivity scoring. Education systems with predictive analytics. Finance systems with risk modeling. Healthcare systems with prioritization tools. Housing systems with screening. Government systems with surveillance and assessment. AI rewrites social rules wherever it is used to allocate attention, resources, or opportunity. And the reason is simple. Social rules follow power. AI becomes a new tool for power. So social rules shift toward what the tool can enforce. 22. The key pattern: legibility, optimization, and control. Across all these domains, a pattern appears. 1. The system makes people legible through data. 2. The system optimizes outcomes based on institutional goals. 3. The system enforces the optimized reality through feedback. That is social rule rewriting. Legibility reduces privacy. Optimization reduces autonomy. Enforcement reduces dissent. This is not always intentional. It is structural. It is what happens when predictive systems are used to manage humans. 23. what a different path would require. AI does not have to rewrite social rules in harmful ways. But a better path requires governance. Transparency about how ranking and scoring work. Meaningful user control over feeds and profiling. Limits on surveillance and predictive judgment. Appeal processes when systems punish or exclude. Independent audits of large-scale systems. Design goals that include well-being, not only engagement and efficiency. Most importantly, accountability. If AI changes social rules, the institutions deploying AI must be responsible for the consequences. Otherwise, society becomes governed by invisible incentives. 24. Core takeaway. AI quietly rewrites social rules by controlling visibility, shaping incentives, and enforcing behavior through automated feedback. It changes what feels normal, what feels risky, what feels credible, what feels successful, and what feels safe to say or do. These changes are quiet because they come through system design, not public debate. The result is a society where people adapt to machine judgment, often without realizing it. The question is not whether AI will change culture. It already does. The question is whether people will demand transparency, limits, and accountability before invisible rule changes become permanent. If this episode helped you understand how AI quietly rewrites social rules, like this video so more people can see it. Share it with someone who thinks algorithms only recommend content. And subscribe to Uncovering Facts for deep, hype-free explanations of technology, power, and the systems shaping modern life. Next episode, why AI makes privacy obsolete.